Welcome back to the big blue boat shed, folks. Just trying to get cleaned up in here a little bit. We had some monsoon torrential rains, and I had to move some stuff around. Um, this boat shed's been terrible for storage space. It's way too small, but I had to get my precious supply of oak and black cherry up off the ground. I'll have to put some sticks in between to make sure that we don't get any rotten wood happening. This side of the boat shed was pretty much a dumping ground for the last year or so, but it's the biggest workspace that I have. Yes, I know my plywood is not stored properly, but again, it's a space issue. This flexi-cat that you've seen me using is probably my favorite. It's a 4x18 flexi-cat. I've got sanding grits all the way from 60 up to 320. Used primarily for fairing large surface areas. Compare that to 2x27 flexi-cat. It's almost the same surface area, and this is the one that really allows you to get down to a finer finish. The motion when using a long board or a tool like this is to work in large X's patterns, about 45 degrees to one another. They really cut fast, so you have to be careful on what you're working on. The high build primer will have to be sanded before it's painted, and I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to paint the hull myself or not. I don't know, but this one will get a lot more use once we get down to the final fairing on the hull. I don't need to use it on this rudder, it's too big. You can see it hangs well over the sides, but it's a great tool. Again, I've got one handle locked in position and another one that rotates. Makes it easier to use, a lot more flexible. Again, you don't have to grab it by the handles. You can apply pressure on the dead center. You can see this one is articulated in 3 different spots, and it's got little rockers that also allow you to get that great curve when you're doing a compound surface. Just great tools. Very expensive, very hard to find nowadays. One of the other things I use a lot is my air sander, and it uses the peel and stick discs. I don't throw these all away. I try and keep a few of them kick around because they're really good when you need to get into a tight spot or need a little more pressure than you can apply with one of the large surface scan sanders. Plus they have a sticky back, they're easy to hang on to. So I always have a bucket of all my used sandpaper. When my neighbor doesn't come over to pillage it to sand his birdhouses, I managed to save a few for myself. I'm not too worried if the rudder is going to be ultra fair. I don't think it's going to affect performance if there's a few low spots, or I don't know if it's going to be hydrodynamically stable or anything like that. That's a 50-cent word. Don't ask me where that came from. But, it will look okay. Hopefully it will perform all right. That's all I'm worried about. I just got to get the edges cleaned up, and then I'll flip it over. We're almost there. I'm going to call this side done for now. There's a couple of tiny little spots where it might need a touch up here or there, but it's not a big deal. So we're going to flip it, do the other side, and then we'll come back and we'll touch it up. A few little spots. Once that's done and sanded, there will be 2 coats of high build epoxy primer that'll go on it. I won't paint it till just with anti-fouling until just before it's ready to go in the water. So Flip it over. Back with our fairing compound now, so just gonna mix this. This quick fair has a pretty good working time, so there's no need to rush. That was one batch. I'll probably have to mix up another batch before we're finished on this side. There, it's possible to overwork. The quick fair starts to jumble up. I'm pretty much at that point now. That's 2 coats on. I'm gonna let that set up, and we'll go back later and we'll hit it with the flexi-cats and see what we come up with. Back up here in the boat for a minute. I just wanted to show you the auxiliary gas tank. We picked it up off of Kijiji for $50. These things normally retail for over 200 US, so that's a pretty big deal. Saved a few shekels there. Had a nice little road trip to get it. The auxiliary gas tank will be for to run the Honda generator, and we have an extended fuel run system on the Honda that's currently in the RV. This is the extended run system on our Honda generator. It's composed of a cap and a line that's fed to a larger tank, and as the generator draws down fuel from its own tank, it siphons it up from the larger reservoir. It's very simple. It's very effective. I think that tank is 12 liters and the Honda itself holds 3, so it's about 15 liters. I don't suspect that with the amount that we've run it, this will last us a week or so anyways, under heavy use. Fits perfectly between the stringers. It'll be in the aft enclosure at the back of the cockpit. Actually, this side here, under the sticky stuff dispenser, is where we will mount the Honda generator. And yes, it will be inside, but it will have proper ventilation and proper exhaust out through the side of the hull. So that will be our primary on the hook source of power. I also plan to put in at least 2 4D AGMs, and we have a 2000 watt pure sine inverter, which will also allow us to stay independent on the hook for a while if we want. On the cabin top, I think we have 320 watts of solar panels. We have no solar regulator yet, but that'll come eventually. So what I'm going to do next today is that aft bulkhead right here needs to be filleted and taped on the backside. I've been putting that dirty job off because I have to do it standing on my head, and I really don't like standing on my head for very long. standby.